In this video we'll try to describe the best option for a transition at a political, social and economic level, considering an increasingly automated society, with technological and structural unemployment. The objective of the economy is by definition supplying the demand, not creating jobs. In other words, while a person in 1930 produced food for other 3 persons, that same person today produces for 120. In the same period of time and with less labor. Full employment has never existed, and as time passes it's further off from existence. Where we needed 500,000 workers, today we need 1 engineer.
Technology is racing forward, and it's cheaper today for industry to automate. There's no air conditioning, no people that you have to pay, no salaries, no insurance that you have to pay. It's even becoming cheaper to automate than to outsource today. There are many factories at almost 100% automation. So as soon as there are more people who automate, and they have to stay ahead of the competitive edge, then that means that people will not have jobs and they will not have purchasing power to buy the goods turned out.
Realizing the system's collapse due to the end of the monetary labor model, the transition that will be analyzed in this video is Minarchism plus basic income. Minarchism, sometimes called minimal state or minimal government, is a political and economic ideology that proposes that the size, role and influence of the government in a free society should be minimum, only big enough to protect freedom and property of each individual. The reasons why we support the minimization of the government power are evident analyzing the situation in any current country. Every government is corrupt and bureaucratic by definition. People need to pursue first their personal well-being before someone else's. Is the physical and natural reality of our existence. No animal in scarcity conditions cedes its food to other animal. It's a biological response produced by a naturally scarce environment. In words of Lord Acton, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Whenever you have any organization taken over by a bureaucracy like a government, what tends to happen is that input goes up and output goes down. That useless work tends to displace useful work. And he illustrated it with hospital service in the United Kingdom. He took the 8-year period from 1965 to 1973. In that 8-year period, the hospital staff, the number of people, went up 28%. Incidentally, administrative and clerical help went up 41%. But what about output? What about what they were producing? Input was up. Well, he measured output by the average number of beds occupied daily. It turned out that the average number of beds occupied daily went down by 11%. And he hastened to go on to explain that the decline in the average number of beds occupied was not for want of patients, that at all times there was a waiting list in the neighborhood of 600,000 people waiting for hospital beds. I don't know how many of you know the scandals in Britain about the waiting periods for what is regarded as optional or postponable surgery, including, for example, bypass operations for heart problems. There are stories of people who waited 3 years to have a bypass operation because that could be postponed. Indeed, some of them managed to die before the operation was performed.
23,000 people just administering other administrators? We'll have to do a time and motion study, see who we can get rid of.
We did one of those last year, Minister.
And?
It transpired we needed another 500 people.
What happens if an airline crashes? They go out of business. Clearly in this, why do we have elevator inspectors? What would happen if one of these elevators failed? That guy would be out of business.
Government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem. The second point to analyze in this proposal is the basic income, that it would be the system that would allow a peaceful transition to happen towards a highly technical economy. Basic income is an income that is received with the only condition of being an adult citizen. The basic income is paid by the state, that in the case of minarchism would be the only role of the state in the economy. The objective of this fixed income is to allow the person to acquire an average life level, whether he's employed or not. Everybody receives this income, the rich and the poor, employed people and unemployed people. The advantages of the basic income are: the situation for people with low purchasing power gets better. Unpleasant jobs would be better paid or automated. More pleasant and satisfactory jobs would get a lower pay. Workers would be in a better position to negotiate their contracts of employment. It wouldn't be needed to monitor unemployed people working illegally, like with the current unemployment help. Self-employment would be less risky, therefore it would increase. Bigger salaries, that would also receive the universal income, would be more affected by direct taxes. As a result, the state would recover the money that those salaries receive. The main disadvantage, according to its detractors, is that immigrants would come to get the income with no productive activity. This can be solved, during the transition, with a restrictive immigration policy. This project is only a model of transition. It's not a solution to all the problems that we have. It's only a better way to face this historical period, marked by the new knowledge and advances in science and technology. For further information about the basic income, we recommend these websites. For a long-term solution to the challenges we must face, we recommend to investigate the proposal of the Venus Project. You can find more information about it in the website thevenusproject.com.